Welcome to the Tangled Puppet. Tonight, I want to start this out a little different than what I've ever done before. I want to get a little transparent with you. First off, let's start off with my name. Most people call me B. I like to be called that. That's the main energy that I stay in. I have a very important topic tonight, and the topic is unconditional love. How many people in your lives actually know what love is? Do you truly know what love is? I'm starting to see, I'm not starting, I've been seeing, but doing the statistics and the tolls, there's more humans out here that have never experienced unconditional love. That's love that no matter what a person does, you still have the courage and the strength to forgive them and show them that you can forgive them properly and be able to discuss what is going on and move forward. It's not about right and wrong. It's about an equal sign. It's about the fact of how it made somebody feel. And now that you know that, you're going to respect that it doesn't make them feel joyous, or that it does, or do it or don't do it. It's that equal sign. And it all goes back to courting when we're children. When we're children, these days, we jump into a relationship, you get in it, and for some reason, everybody acts like you're grown and you have the ability to choose what you like and don't like in a relationship and starting out young dating. But at the same time, you're not old enough to choose what you want to eat for dinner that night. No, technically, your parents should have said, oh, hey, no, you can court them. You don't even know them, technically. Let's get to know them and then choose, hey, I do like you, or, maybe you're just not the person I'm interested in. And then you're able to make firm decisions with yourself, trust yourself, which is where it all starts with self-love. You have to trust yourself to be able to trust anybody else. And once you can trust yourself, then you can find the self-love that you need inside yourself and be able to climb this mountain that we all have with our own lessons in this life. And most everybody starts with self-love, because in the end of it, the era that we're in is the rise of the divine feminine. There's a balance to every situation. And with this situation and the life that we're in, as Christians would call, revelations is coming into time. Look, more prophecies have been fulfilled in this lifetime now than ever before, but people still can't see that. And, we are in a duality where it's yin and yang, black and white, and we have had the dark side of it. Jesus Christ was our dark side of it. His story was. And when Jesus comes back this time, what makes you think it wouldn't be the light side of that, the divine feminine? He will rise in a feminine, is my opinion. We will see. That's what I've downloaded. But either way, it's the start of the rainbow wars. All the rainbow children, they're here for a purpose. They're like humanity's Care Bears. They're going to send these light rays out from their solar perplex, and it is going to be an energy that when they all connect up, humans have never experienced to see anything like this. This is going to blow their minds. And they're going to wish the whole time that they had changed their minds if they're not on the right side of this war. Because this is a war between right and wrong, light and dark, do's and don'ts, integrity, authenticity. You being authentic in all your ways, And people's opinions really don't matter as long as the opinion you have of yourself is what you're willing to carry across your back when Judgment Day comes. That's just the way it is, and people thought when nobody was looking, but everybody that matters was always looking. The watchers have always been there, and now the watchers are sitting there in your chair staring you in your faces. They have ascended down, and they are taking control of this lifetime. And it is time for us to rise and shine in our true, authentic, chosen ones. It is time for us to wake up. And if you're not fully ascended and working on it, then you're going to end up a fallen angel. And that's sad. That's a real sad thing, because, we were not built and designed to fall this time. We were showed our lessons a long time ago and agreed that we knew we could handle them this way. So why our vessels and our souls are allowing us to cower out and say, oh, it's too much for us this lifetime, I don't know. But we need to get it together. We have a rise of a stand to take, chosen ones, and we are the ones that are going to start this movement into this new phase of unconditional love where we are teaching the humanity to love again. So, I'm guided to start with that, and then we'll go a little further with this, okay? So, yesterday was 11:30 of 22, 11:30 of 99. I was 11 years old. And the era that we were in then, my father was participating in bike groups, and my mother, she was his ride or die. She was always there with him, let me first say that. But there come a time there was something that happened in our family dynamic that I can remember. We had moved from the north to the south, and I played softball. That's how I kept my mind off of what was going on, and I thought that I was bringing pride to my father, because he really loved sports anyways. So that's what I did to do something I thought he'd be proud of anyways, because I wanted to be a boy and couldn't be a boy, do the football thing. So we had to do it with softball. But anyways, there was a day that me and 4 girls, after we got out of the softball game, went to the coach's house. And I can remember in the bedroom that night before we went to sleep, them asking me, Brandy, what's wrong with you? And for once, I was ready to tell them. I didn't know where my father was, alive or dead, in jail or not in jail, but it bothered me that I didn't know. About a month later, I'm at the house and the phone rings. My mom answers the phone and she goes, Brandy, the phone's for you. And I pick up the phone and there's this man on the phone who I once knew that voice, but I haven't seen that face in such a long time that it startled me so bad. I threw the phone at my mom and I ran out the door. And all he said is, hey, darling, I love you and I miss you. And that shit scared me so bad I ran. I ran so far. I was so hurt that he had audacity to call me and not show up. But where the hell have you been? And he's probably wondering that too. Where the hell have you been? Let me put it like that. He didn't know where we were either. It was designed that way purposely. But in time, it all made a lot of sense to me. At this point in time, he's on the phone to tell my mother that he's dying and he's going to be coming to our home soon, because this time he's going to come to leave forever. And this almost made me bitter and broken and not ever going to be better. I was 11 and 26 by the time that I realized my father was never going to be able to walk me down the aisle and never see my kids. I would never cook him a meal. And it crushed me. He was my world. Throughout all this, I was even shunned by our family on my father's side because they said I was too much like him, but they never took the time to understand that I was the best part of him. When everything happened and my father died 2 months later, when they said he would have a year left to live, it shut me down. I didn't even know at that point in time that I had all these gifts, let alone begin to understand what to do with them. So I decided to shut myself off. From 26 on, it took me seriously self-evaluating, going inside myself, almost like your 12-step program, and saying, hey, let's do step 5. There's so much stuff that you may or may not like about yourself. Everybody knows that we have that filing cabinet in the back of our mind that is full with the thoughts that haunt us about ourselves that we don't like, we don't approve of. But how many of you actually have a filing cabinet of what you do like about yourself and want to achieve? because that's the only way that you're ever going to make it to a place of self love, of unconditionally loving yourself. You know, most people, or my personal problem was overextending, and I see it daily in people's lives. You know, whether it be a guy or a woman, sparks up an interest, but yet this person really feels strongly for him, whether it be a past life connection or a new connection, whether they're gifted or not. You know, they're like, oh, hell, this person's obsessed or has no self-control, but the whole time maybe they could see something better in that person than they could even see in themselves, and they knew that they could stand the test of time with this person. But in return, because of the way the world works today, we are deemed shunnable for this, you know, and it's overextending and things like that that make people codependent looking, and they're really unconditional. And there's a fine line, just like gifted and narcissist. There's a fine line in between being empathic and narcissist, you know. But I say all this to say that there's a serious lesson to be had here. Chosen ones, we have a legion of fallen angels, or angels that chose to fall this life, or maybe even karmatics that were sent here all the way around from Orion with plenty of lessons to give, and that's they want them lessons. They don't mind not learning theirs. They were sent here just for this, okay? And what they're doing is, women, you know, they get with you, and once you have that child, they leave your life. That's because the cycle was closed out, because their main purpose was breeding with you to lower your bloodline down, because they weren't pure, and to take you from a high vibe to blending with them takes them and this into a lower vibration, right? Okay, so now we've lowered our bloodline instead of helping it. And the whole time, you know, everything that we do affects 7 generations. So now we not just lowered ourselves, we've lowered 7 generations down to a non-pure bloodline. And we are having half angels, half demons, half earth angel, have fallen angel mixtures. And these children are either born karmatic or like split in two to begin with, because that demon and that angel will never blend, or when they do blend, they blend into what is mundane, okay? Neither one of them, they didn't fall, they didn't rise, they took off somewhere in the middle, you know, and blended into a mundane human with more have to have more structure for their lessons, because, you know, they lost their gifts that God blessed them with, and it wasn't their choice. But, you know, at the same time, we make those choices as those souls ascend down long before we ever came here for these lessons. But my point of this is we could change these paths by not mixing and blending with birds of different feathers. You see the warning signs, but it's those codependent abandonment fears, fears of unlove or unlovable, that keep us in a place of, oh, I love you, I'm sorry I hit you, or I'm sorry I did this, I love you, oh, don't do that, you know, that behavior and those tendencies that keep us overextending, breadcrumbing us, you know, gaslighting. And it's really the number one cause I'm seeing is self-sabotage, that is causing people to stay in this maze of their own emotions like a Groundhog Day. And it's every day, maybe not the same way, but it's the same place, same page, different face, different name. And, you know, I have wondered how many times am I going to sit around and keep my mouth shut when it's simple? It's simple. It's the simple words. It's a simple gesture of, hey, have you ever tried an equal sign in your relationship? It's not about right and wrong. And give somebody that simple advice that sits on your mind, that you hold so dear, like your own special vice, you know, because I know that I do. I know that I truly walk in an Empress energy, and I don't care who agrees or disagrees, because I know who I am in this lifetime and in the rest. And I'm not competing to be the best. I'm just competing to make sure I pass all my tests. That's it. I'm competing with myself to make sure that I can finish the race. And I am the first thing I do when I have a karmatic experience, I go straight to that person and tell them thank you. And all the respect, not as a smart ass. I tell them thank you because without them, I wouldn't have learned that lesson. And hey, if a new karmatic comes straight up to teach me a lesson immediately, I am so thankful. I am so thankful for a new person to come in and teach me that lesson, because the ones that were in my life do not want to be the one that teach you that lesson. Even though they think that they do, it hurts 1,000 more times to be taught a lesson by somebody you thought was true to you than to have a lesson taught to you by somebody you didn't even know, because you can understand why they did the shit, but you can't understand why somebody that you gave all that love to would be the one that would want to do you like that. So it's a very hard lesson when that lesson keeps coming around and you don't learn it, or you don't allow somebody to learn their lessons. That's the true definition of a burden. That's when a lesson becomes so tough that now it's weighing on your back like 10 wands holding you down with the 10 swords that they done stabbed in there. And your 10 of Pentacles is under the ground. You're digging for that treasure like it's a magical treasure box that God's been put out there with all these gems on you. But at the same time, you turned your back from that treasure. You don't even know where that X was marked, because all them X's are on your back now. And you are left looking silly digging for that treasure over there, knowing damn well that ain't where you left it. Ain't where you'll ever find it again, because this treasure got legs that up and moved around on you. And then you got to start all over scrambling again, trying to learn these lessons, get back to that treasure box. And let's hope we got enough time to get back to our treasure boxes, guys, because that's our true self. That is our true, authentic self, is your treasure box. You know, chosen ones, we are the gems, the benho helium gems, you know, and the most important lessons in this life is the receiving, the giving, and the neutral mode. And if you just take the advice that I've given you today, and you receive when it's time for you to receive. You know, if you're praying for a blessing, but every time somebody says, oh, thanks for that, here's $5, you say you don't, no, that's good, I don't need it, I got it. You don't need your blessings, you got it. So what is your ancestors and God and the angels supposed to think when they try to give you blessings and you've denied them? You know, but how about when you're called to give that blessing, but greed takes up inside and you turned your eye to it and you side-eye that what's supposed to be you as a blessing to them, changing their life in such a way that is impactful enough to change their lessons every day. That is what I'm talking about here. When you give and receive. And that neutral mode is when you take and you put your hands up and say, you know what? Lord, I can't do this by myself. Ancestors, I can't do this by myself anymore. I don't know what to do. So I'm going to release control and allow you to do what's best for everybody involved. Put me on my highest test, my highest path to reside in this vibration to where you are vibing of only your highest, truest potential in this life, and you will never go wrong. God is not going to steer you down a path that's not your path. That's not what he designed you for. And your ancestors are tired of failing, whether they failed your lineage or you failed it or it was 15 years ago. Guys, we have failed. Our ancestors are not even being guided across when they pass on to make sure that they can get it to where they go. And we have so many souls residing in limbo now. I am a medium, and it breaks my heart every time I have to allow the doors to come open, but I do it every day, all day, so that I can heal not only my ancestors, but yours too. And I have no problem doing it because I understand that there are not many out here guided to do the work that I can do. You know, we are those generational curse breakers. When I first started this path, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to know what my niche is. I need to know what to do so I could do it the best I could do, so I could be doing this, da, 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 da. But in return of it, it all fit into one. There's not many forms of divitation I didn't study or learn. I don't know Braille divitation. I don't know Morse code divitation, but all the rest of them, they're documented. I've studied and learned, got certificates in a lot of them. But the point of it is, none of that really matters if that's not your highest true potential. And, you know, I've learned that I'm a no tools reader. I don't need tools to read the energy of the place, the situation, people, their faces, their, you know, relatives 100 spaces down. It doesn't matter. Matter of fact, the less I know you, the better off I can read you. And the tools that I have acquired and the knowledge I have acquired, I can give you a reading driving down the road with all the synchronicities and the signs I see. I channel messages like that every day. And I'm so behind on giving you guys the messages that I have for you. And I'm sorry that I've not been doing my part in helping us get on this path that takes us onto the next phase in life, this next place that we're going to be. I know that I'm a public influencer and I've been sitting on the sidelines, but last night when I sat down with my father and we had a conversation, you know, my dad played the No More Tears album at his funeral. He planned his own funeral, creepy enough. But so we always start out on Mama, I'm Coming Home, because that's my dad's favorite song, or one of them. And I'm like, all right, Father, you can take over the radio tonight. Tonight's your night. And I get everything I know my father likes. I get his coffee. I get his beer. I get his whiskey. I get his cigarettes. I get his favorite candy. I get cook him some food. And we're having a rebirth day, because today is no longer his death day. Today he rises again as a new man and understands who and what and how to become better for our lineage. He is no longer a karmatic ancestor. My father helps guide our whole family. And here's the main topic that I wanted to get to, and the point of this is, guys, and I'm not talking shit about anybody. There's just certain things going on in my life that have to be a public lesson for the world. Today, we won't call names, but one day, it's not who, what, when, and why, but there is going to come a day that people are going to start answering for what they've done. And they're never going to expect the people to say and take up for themselves. It's not turning things on them. I hope that didn't cut out, but it's not, turning things or snitching on them or doing this and that. It's honestly standing up for yourself and your bloodline, your lineage, your ancestors, and the people that are innocent. When you know that there are people in your family or your friends groups that is doing dirty, dark magic, and you don't stop or do something about it, you're co-signing with it. Today, I am never going to be a co-signer again. There was a time in my life I was gifted some knowledge and I didn't understand why this person done what they done, let alone that they would tell me. I was mortified for them and scared for them. I did express my concerns that you understand that comes with a price. And I left and I hadn't seen that person again until this year. And actually, I was going in to tell a family member that I loved them, because I refused to let the generational curse that was carried on with his family member and our father by not being able to tell him goodbye. And I refused to let somebody in my family go without knowing how I felt about them. There's not a family member that chooses to speak to me that I don't speak to unless they generally think that I don't know that they had something to do with the destruction of my whole life. And I know more about my life than they think that I would ever know. But it's my choice as being the spiritual, psychic, divine being to share with them the downloads I have given. Right now, I've been guided to be very, very silent to them all. That way they're not harvesting energy off me. And I am being taught ancient wisdom by my ancestors, and the knowledge that I am acquiring is going to help us all so very soon. But, sometimes those who tinker in that magic don't know how to fix the problem, because they've not done the work. They've not grown. And that's the reason. When they thought it was all about a show and who was better and who's this and who's that. No, the truth of it is this is right and this is wrong. And to manipulate somebody's free will is wrong. So to take their lives in your hands and manipulate how it's going to go for them and choose to steal their blessings and their solar perplex and create off of their divine energy, Eventually, the piper's going to come and want payment. And what are they going to say? We did this with a divine pure being, and the energies that they call on don't want that pure being. That's not what they feed on. So that would do nothing but harm them. So in return, these energies are turned back on them because they're the only thing that they can feed on in the setting between them and them. If you're understanding what I'm saying, is being a chosen one comes with a certain amount of karma, not a time limit. Guys, some of us have evil family members that tried to kill us. And I don't mean just one of them. Oh, and I don't just mean magic. I mean lots of different ways. I was gang stalked by 3 different gangs. And they're some of the largest gangs in the world. Thousands of people, me, little old me by myself, with no absolute zero clue as to why. The only thing I could think of is the little clues that I was given by some of my family members along the way. In return, noticing it was all lies and sent me down the wrong path. They literally sent me on a path in my life to make me look like I was the craziest, most batshit person out here. In return, if people just look through their magnifying glass, they will see I'm the most sound person in my family. My brain is more stable than any of the older generations. Thank God that as it weeds down our family, that it's changing, that it's slowly subsiding off. But until recently, and I noticed that even the younger generations were just doing a better job at putting on their mask and holding it together in public. And today, ladies and gentlemen, God told me, and my dad told me, my fathers told me, child, let your huntress take a rest. Put your swords down beside your chest because you fought this the best. There's never going to come a day again where you will never win, because today we have wrapped our arms around you like the wind that slowly carries your pure energy from within, okay? And as this pure energy is sent out to the world with all of this unconditional love, we're going to make your energy like a glove, right? Because there's something coming. 7 days, 7 months. But I will tell you something. What's going to happen, this destruction that's going to seem like the demise of all humankind, is going to shake us up so bad that most will not be able to see that this fall is the rise, our opportunity where we will stand in humanity. The meek will inherit the earth because we'll be the only ones left to inherit it. In the next 7 months after those 7 days, we will spend every waking moment, every day trying to heal this place and ourselves in order to save our human race. And this is going to be one of the most profound spiritual story, the most best awakening, most rallied, this is going to be in all of the history books after, and it's been in all of them before. It just comes with a different door, a different space, and a different place, guys. We're still in the same maze in this race where we can't finish this because in the end of it, there's very few of us that souls are lighter than our karma. We have to change this for the world. My heart breaks when I think about everything that I love. This year alone, I've been 8,000 places by my map. I've took pictures in 8,000 different places. I have been all over the United States grid working and working with people, anybody that would give me the time. I spent hours in Philadelphia standing by a bar, and every time somebody asked me for $1 or did I have this or did I have that, the only thing I did was grab them by their hand and say, today we have healing for you. That's what I can do for you, is I can heal you through the power of Jesus Christ and our fathers before us and our mother, the son, the daughter of the light. Come here and let me help you today. And honestly, I thought that moment would be scary for me the first time that I actually done it that way, because it was like handing out flyers. Hey, come over here if you need some free healing. You know, this doctor don't charge you anything. But we're not talking about 3D healing. We're talking about the part of you that needs healed because your vessel and your soul no longer match with their purpose. And every time that you go off this path, your soul starts ascending away from this vessel. And this vessel starts getting sick and it becomes this war like this. And then all of a sudden, these 3D things start taking place. Is it your mouth? Maybe you have a bad mouth and you need to change your mouth. Is it your pancreas? Maybe you were raped somebody or had done something wrong with those parts, and maybe you need to change that part of you. Maybe you have lustful eyes or a lustful penis or something, you know. Who knows? But maybe you have breast cancer. Maybe you like to flaunt yourself. You know, there's a flaw in there somewhere because that's where you detached at. And it's not hard to self-evaluate and be honest with yourself, because if you can't be honest with yourself, you can't be honest with anybody else ever. And then you don't trust you or them, and it's the same cycle over and over again. Chosen ones, we have to pick up their slack. We have to save as many souls as can be saved before this page turns and things are different. Today is so different than what we've ever known before. Most people are not adaptable, but technically, our world raised us to be adaptable. It's ever changing. Every day is different for you. Just learn to enjoy the experience for the experience that it is without expectations, because when you don't expect something to be a certain way, then it can be grand and an experience that you've never experienced before, because it gives it a chance to be anything that it wants to be, not what you deemed it could be. And guys, I'm here to tell you, most people want to be way more than what they've ever been before, but society doesn't give them the chance to say that's who they are these days. They hold them back at who they had been. So as we ascend down this path, chosen ones, it's going to eventually put us on our north node, where you are automatically covered and protected by the divine himself. And when there's actions taken upon you that are not of your highest vibration, you will see instant karma come on spot for these people, and they'll think you're doing dark magic. But I'm here to tell you, I don't have to do magic. I don't have to step in a circle. I don't have to light a candle. I don't have to bend an element. I don't have to use alchemy. I drop to my knees and I pray to my Father. Because I know without a doubt in my mind, without 1 ounce of faith, questioning, that every time I hit my knees and I am naked in front of my Father and myself, and I tell him, this is who I am, this is the thoughts of my mind, and this is what I see. Help me to perceive what you want me to see out of this and help it to be the best for me. It already starts. Here's a perfect example. One night before I had left the West Coast, I was being gang stalked so damn bad after a year and a half of fighting for my life. That's a whole nother story. And I mean, desperately sick. They told me I had less than a year left to live. And it's honestly been way more than that at this moment. But anyways, at this point in time, my kids were telling me, Mom, it's okay. You know you got this. You know you got this. You're such a powerful healer. You've healed everybody. You're still healing people. But honestly, I didn't know how to heal myself anymore. I didn't know how to fix this problem, because honestly, I truly, truly, truly could never have ever fathomed what the real problem was. And I went to a guy, he's my guru. He's been one of the most profound teachers I've had in all of my experience. His name is Jeff, and he works at Celestial Awakenings in Vancouver. This is not an advertisement part of this. This man is a very genuine light healer, and he's amazing. He saved my life, or he helped me save my life. And he showed me what was wrong with me. He said, Brandy, you have a bunch of people that have cursed you, but the who, what, where, and why does not matter. But what seems so big in the 3D is tiny, tiny, tiny in the 5D. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, it doesn't feel very tiny here because it's attacked all of me and has been for 30 years. I know for a fact I suffered from some of these. And he was trying to tell me what to do. Oh, which itch. When I got home. But my mind was so scrambled that I was never even going to be able to figure it out. And I told him, I said, you're going to have to write that down for me. He said, no, I need to help you right now. And when these curses came off me and this man pulled them off me with a feather while I held the entity with a rock, you could hear it publicly, like Velcro come off of me. There was lots of people in this store that witnessed this. And there was a bowl of water underneath me. And when I moved, when he told me to, and we ripped them off of me, they were laying in this bowl, all these little curses in this bowl. And I looked at it. I was so confused. I was more confused now than I had ever been in my entire life. Because I thought I knew who I was. And knowing who I am, now it makes sense. But at that time, it didn't make sense. Not to be some divine being, as my keys in this life is to help ignite the passion through unconditional love and teach humanity how to love again. So why in the hell would anybody want to harm me? Why would they do this to me? I don't get it. Why? You know, this is some freaky ass shit I went through. Made me rock in a corner. You know, and there's some parts that I would never give them the satisfaction to hear. But I'll tell you what. Coven after coven after coven. Spiritual witch doctors. Root workers. Poisoned by Roundup. I've even slept in a bathtub for over 12 hours with Roundup. Matter of fact, every time I got in the bath, there was a certain individual in my family that was dropping rat poison or Roundup in my bath and thought I was too silly to know. And I was for months, especially when I couldn't even hardly walk anymore. They thought they were going to kill me. They thought they were going to shut my brain pattern down. And I have proof to all of this. I'm not just shitting you guys because I would dare not speak of what I didn't have proof. The proof's already in the pudding and it's already being taken care of at this moment. So I am free and clear to say what I need to say. I've sat 2.5, 3 years with some of this information to make sure that it was undestructible and I got proper justice out of this. And my favorite thing about God is, you know, he tells us, you know, you need to love your neighbor like you love yourself. That's correct. Because I'll tell you what, when they cross me and our Father is so close. When I say, hey, God, he says, hey, baby, what do you need today? I say, look what they're doing to me this time. He says, turn your eyes. I don't want you to see this. And he knocks the motherfuckers out for me every time. But he don't like me to watch it. So he always tells me to turn the cheek. Because he can see everything that I can't see. And as to where I still feel a certain way for these people, he's seen it all. The unjust for no reasons. You know, you have Google witches over here attacking Indian chiefs, cursing up millions of people's bloodlines here, and our elders forgot to teach us what to do. These people don't know how to carry their legacy over, but they want to. They want to try, but where do they turn to? A textbook? Most of them is not going to understand ancient divine wisdom from a textbook because it was never given to that book. It needs to come from somebody. So, chosen ones, I am going to put the information down in the description, but I will set up a place where if you need help and advice, or, you know, I do card readings and things like that too, but this channel is not about money. And it's not about popularity. It's about healing what's unhealed before we have no time to heal anything again. And I personally don't think we reincarnate back after this life in this place. It's not going to be like that again. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I don't doubt what I have to say. But there may be people who don't agree with me, and that's fine. You're entitled to each of our own opinions. Our own opinions is what left everybody in this crazy situation to begin with, because they're not following the facts and the messages that our founding fathers have left here for us, and our mother before us, you know. So with this message being said, this is one of the most strictest messages that I've ever downloaded, you know, but they want people to know, Spirit wants people to know that, you want me to say it like that? Okay. I am a very entrusted, highly ranking spiritual individual that they have sent here specifically to direct these messages and keep you calm with them when everything shifts out towards the end of times. And we're getting there, guys. We really are. We can't sit here and sugarcoat what's going on around us anymore. Quit turning your eyes to the truth of it and only turn your head when God handles it. Stay in your divine light, beautiful angels, and shine. Now is your time. And I know without a doubt, we will rise. We will take everybody by surprise. But those of us who is doing this and putting this into a path, we have fought and learned these lessons every lifetime. We've been training for this. There is no reason why you should fear what is going on right now. This is going to be our most proudest moment. After this war, we are entering heaven on earth. That is a place that is the most beautiful, promising place. With all the mythical creatures, we get to be who our true souls are, and our divinity, our beauty will shine through. We won't see a bunch of beautiful faces that are so ugly that they stain every place that they go through, because their soul is so tampered with oil and all these succubus and incubus and this and that and this and that you can't even find their beautiful wings anymore. They're covered up like these opals, you know, that have the shell on them, and you have to clean them so much, and then underneath that red hard shell or that clay shell, you get this beautiful, beautiful gem that's been pressed and compacted down for years and years, sitting here with all that compression, and pops out a beautiful diamond. You know, that's what we've been doing, except for while we were sitting in that incubation period, we were supposed to be ascending, not sitting here hoping that somebody's going to pick us up and carry us onto the place and we're going to get the recognition from their space efforts and place. You know, that's not how this works. And when Judgment Day comes and they line us all out there like we're in school again, and they have that big overhead projection screen, and they call us up there and like, B, come on, it's your turn. You know, well, I want to go back to November 5th of 93, and you decided to kick your brother in the knee, and you never thought or cared enough about his emotions to tell him, hey, I knew all the times I picked you and you was wrong. I was just lacking and wanted companionship, and you were my best friend, and it hurt me when you rejected me. You know, that's, you know, is that okay with you? You know, I cheated on you before and you don't know it. I need to open up and tell you some things to relieve my own soul from this. Or I stayed with you and you were so karmatic to me that I forgot who I was while trying to be loyal to your needs and your emotions. I forgot how I truly felt about this. And I wasn't honest with you when I knew I needed to reject this offer and reserve. You know, it's okay to say no, or I don't want to, or this makes me feel a certain way. Keeping in all of your emotions and how you feel and swiping things under the slate and acting like it didn't happen is not healthy, and it's how it got us to this place and the space. And I just want to tell you, thank you for taking the time today, 44 on the clock, to listen to my advice from Spirit and God and our ancestors before us. I actually have about 6 to 7 pages in here that I've written out, but the message became so channeled at the moment that, I've accepted I am a vessel for whatever our my father needs from me. And if it is so he can contact you or your aunt can contact, whatever, when you come to my space and in my energy, what I say to you is not my choice. How it's directed at you, I'm not a hateful person. But some people walk into my energy and automatically we have a lesson. We grow up a little bit. We take them out of this karmatic space and move them to a higher vibing place that they didn't know existed, on a simple fact that we changed their perception and gave them a whole new pie diagram and allowed their brain to expand to all these different ways and thinkings and places they never thought that their brain could cross-reference this. And now they're starting to see how it all intertwines back into one wheel, the wheel of fortune. That is like our soul's path, our lessons. And when you hit the end of this completion, you better hope your lessons are completed. Like your lug nuts on your tire, your fucking tire's going to fly off. And where the hell are you going? You don't know, but it ain't going to be where you're at. And with that, I'm going to leave you guys with this message tonight. And just know that every single one of you, enemy, friend, family, evil, good, bad, I pray for you every night that God helps me take the courage and the strength to lead you right into this place, that you will help me get this video out to as many people that needs to see it. By the way, hit the like, share, and subscribe so it can get in the algorithm so that my video can be seen. We all know how it works. And if there's anybody that, wants to help me promote my channel and their channels to get the message out, I'm not against that either. Like I said, I'll have some ways you can contact me in my descriptions. And chosen ones, if you do need advice, I'm here to help. I just want to thank you for stepping up and taking the place of your own personal race. We'll be back later with some more messages. By the way, one of my biggest fans. Hey, I love you, darling. Here's another video. Anyways, I hope this is the message that you guys really needed to hear tonight, because I hear my ancestors going, she did it. Anyways, have a good night.